It's truly a Google introduction. It's the finest, because for me, Google does stand to be very innovative and the finest. And I'm proud to be with you today. I'm truly honored, and I'm so glad that I had this day in my hand, though the correspondence between your organizer and me went on and on and on. We lost the email. Who was that? We lost in between. It was in my mind that Google is connecting with me. Where's Google gone? So I'm so glad that we reconnected, isn't it? We lost in between and we came back. So I'm so happy that, and therefore thank you all, because all of you probably decided to have an outsider like me today with you, and I'm thrilled. So thank you very much for persevering, isn't it? This is a great compliment. I never thought I could be a rock star of law enforcement. It doesn't go together at all. In fact, if you had said this earlier, they would have thrown me out of the service earlier. And say, see, that's exactly the reason she's a misfit. Because as it is, I was all along considered a misfit. Because when I was in police training, and believe you me, it was amazing. When I was in training and I took over as charge as Joint Commissioner training, I was shocked to see what was going on there. And they were drawing on the blackboard a PC, what a PC looks like. So they used to draw, and there was a computer training program all sub-inspectors had to pass, and they were drawing a PC and putting the buttons and drawing a keyboard. And they were telling young sub-inspectors, this is the way a computer looks like, and these are the buttons you could look at, A, B, C, D, and this is how it was all theory. I was shocked. I said, Delhi police, which has got crores of rupees of budget, has to draw a PC like that, and then the library and then things like that. You know what I did? That's why they called me a misfit. So then 3 days after, I had to call on the Home Minister, and Mr. Advani was then the Home Minister at that time, and I said, he called me instantly, didn't lose time, because he knew I was pretty impatient. If he doesn't give me time, I'll stop asking for an appointment. So I'm not meet him. So I got a message quickly and I met him, and he said, so he made a bigger mistake. He asked me how things going. And when he asked me how things going, I knew he's put his foot in his mouth, because I told him, sir, the entire batch of sub-inspectors are going to fail this year. And sir, it makes news. Wherever I am, it makes news. So he says, he looked glum. He says, what do you want? I said, sir, they're drawing a personal computer on the... So therefore, none of my boys, there were no girls at that time in the sub-inspector still. I said, sir, none of these boys can pass the computer test, because they're only drawing. Therefore, sir, the entire batch is going to fail. So he says, that's when he said, what do you want? I said, I immediately want a computer laboratory in my police training college, not one lab. I need many laboratories, so that from a sub-inspector to a constable, everybody gets trained in computer orientation. And I'm talking late 90s. Not very far, a few years, just a decade away. And then I said, dress up, and not only a computer. I don't have a library. I don't have a gymnasium. I do not have teachers. So give me an interconnecting audio-visual system, so that with one teacher like me picks up a mic instead of doing an assembly class, I have small classes of 25, all interconnected by audio-visuals. So he said, come back to me with your proposal. Imagine this. See, you are non-hierarchical at the moment. We are terribly hierarchical in every department of the government. It is suffocating. It is enslaving. Do not ever dream of going into the government. Never. Do not make a mistake. Or there is an option. Go and change it. Yeah, please go and change it. Challenge it and change it. The way I did. I'll tell you how I did it then. So then I went to my police commissioner and I said, sir, I didn't tell him I'm meeting Mr. Advani. So I thought he better know, because he's asked me for proposals. So, and I can't put up a proposal straight to Mr. Advani. He gives me the money, I put it into, there's somebody called the police headquarters inside. So I went and met the police headquarters and I said, sir, I had a very good meeting with the Home Minister. And sir, I had to do sir, because sirring is done. So I said, sir, and I had to do a little more in sirring so that he accepts what I did. So I said, sir, he was very good. He said, I did say, sir, I told them the class will fail. So I told him, I said, "Sir, I needed," and he said he's asked me for proposals. Imagine I met him around mid-budget time. It was no question, it was a revised budget time where probably, and even post that, no money is released by the government at that time. So he said, okay. So I made only one page note each proposal, and I got what I wanted. So they called me. But while I was doing this, training all constables in computers and everybody, I also took my constables to meditation programs. I also had my constables doing a lot of feedback programs with me. Every class had a feedback box, and it was locked box, the key only with me. Every policeman had an access to that feedback box. It was called communication box. So I put them at every level. Any police officer could drop in a sheet, because that time we were not on internets and emails. So I told them, put anything you want to say, tell me how your teaching went, tell me how the food is, tell me how the facilities are, tell me what you want to learn, tell me what hasn't been taught to you properly, and that's it. And through the communication box, I used to open it daily, take up those communication boxes, sheets, over the lunch. We didn't have a canteen like yours, but we had a big hall turned into a dining hall. All of us used to eat together. All our police officers, inspectors, we were in faculty. So we were about 60 of us, and we all used to eat from a police canteen. We made sure everybody, why? There was a reason. Because the same food goes to the students. So I said, no, I'm going to eat the same food which you give to the students. So the food quality was guaranteed, because they couldn't give us anything which was other than better cooked. So this is how we changed. But believe me, now feedback means the police constable could write a letter to me, and I would put up that feedback box, feedback issues on the table at the lunchtime. As we would finish the lunch, we would then go back to what did we do yesterday. We looked at the implementation, and then we said feedback of today. That's the time when everybody squirmed. But that made sure that the teachers did their homework. They taught properly, because that letter could say, "Aaj kuch samajh nahi aaya, ye padh ke nahi aaya," like that. So we could say, "This is a hopeless teacher, rated 0. So that letter really kept them on their toes, because they could straight away tell me which teacher failed his class today. There was no question of any teacher failing. They did their homework. They did their work. They compared their notes. And then the intercom came, and I had an access to the intercom. I was listening to the class, watching the class, sitting in the office. Friends, this changed the people. It's just a thought which came to me, how it changed. You told me a rock star. That's where my tune went in, how it changed in the sense, rank and file started to ask questions. And the training was, you will not write a false FIR, you will write the truth, you will investigate correctly, you will ask if you are given an order, saying, is that order? So I have also a viewpoint on that. The moment I left the police training college, everything was rubbished. That's why I said, when you called me a rock star, had you done that, I would have been thrown out even earlier, because they did not want meditating police officers. Police officers who would question, police officers who would share their mind, police officers who would contribute to a thinking, police officers who would be stakeholders in it. That's where you are very privileged. And I'm so happy to see you, truly thrilled. Ways back, I did a stint with the Ministry of Industry. You people were not even probably born at that time, when Maruti became the Japanese new culture of management. Maruti actually started with the Japanese quality circles, suggestion boxes, common canteens, shirt of identity and things like that. And I went to look at it. What's making Maruti succeed at that time? It was openness. It was common facilities. It was common sharing. And they were all proud of the fact that they were this. This is where you are very, very privileged, and I'm so happy. I was equally thrilled. This is the second time in my professional life, after seeing a non-government company, I felt so happy. I felt very happy seeing Maruti, and guess what I did when I saw Maruti? Maruti was semi-government. You know, those days, it was almost government, but it was Japanese managed. So I still have a copy of that note. I wrote a 2-page note on what I saw at Maruti, the good practices. I listed them out and sent them all over the country to all my public sector companies, because I was sitting as a Ministry of Industry. And I even sent it to Mr. Prime Minister. It was Rajiv Gandhi those days as Prime Minister, and I always used to have the audacity, because I never had a boss. In the Ministry of Industry, the job they gave me, nobody was interested in there. So I was the boss. I was a deputy director and I was the boss. And since I was the boss and the Secretary Industrial Relations was not interested in my work, so I said, Nahi to nasi, straight away, Mr. Prime Minister. So all the notes I used to write, I used to send them to the Prime Minister. It worked many times. Sometimes I used to go for a power strike, listen to see a power strike and write to Mr. Power Minister, which was Arun Nehru those days. It used to work. So what I'm saying is, let me cut the long story short now, to say you are brilliant, keep it up like that, but it's not the same anywhere else. Anywhere else. Therefore, first of all, before you sleep every night and you get up in the morning, you got to say thank you. Thank you, Godji, for this. You got to say thank you to each other. You got to thank the thinkers who created this. And you got to thank your stars, you thank the recruiters, you thank your team members, because you are because of each other. You are because you are what you are because of your work culture. You are what you are because of the kind of work culture which is God created. You know, you don't have anybody of my generation in this. I'm so happy you don't. Because you just have to have one person like me who would start polluting the whole area and say, "Wo acha tha, ye nahi acha." And then they would say, "This is indiscipline." You asking? You eating more than you need? You're playing. You mean you're carrying peanuts to your personal computer? You're munching a biscuit anytime you want? Or you're playing whatever you want to play at any time you want? This isn't discipline. Believe me, it can be a culture shock to anybody of my age in the government sector. So don't, when you want to give a culture shock, please invite them. So it's great that you are. So therefore my first message for you is, I think if I were to relive, I do not know, maybe I'll keep joining Google in my next birth on the agenda, okay, and see if it works, because it may work. I normally say I want to be an IPS officer again, but what if I have the same stupid bosses again? What do? Well, I've got to struggle my way through anyway, again and again. In fact, my real challenge in my career only came when I actually hit the ceiling. No, everybody tolerated me throughout, till I was right sitting next to the Home Minister now, as a police, as an upcoming police commissioner, and now I realized he was scared. He was truly scared. कि अगर मैंने इसको बोला कि ये जो तिब्बतन टॉर्च जा रही, ये sorry, ओलंपिक टॉर्च जा रही है, इसको फोर्ट में भागो, I would say, so why are you making it into a red fort? We can have a proper arrangement. We can have an arrangement by which we can have the Rajpath lawns, east and west, north and south lawns full of school children and full of people with an ID card, and we'll have the Tibetans demonstrate there, we'll handle both. He would have probably wondered, no, he would have probably said, no, Chinese have said it has to be totally secure. Well, great respect to Chinese, obviously they want it to be secure, but there's a method of security. That's the reason I cried out of the run, because I refused to run in a caged environment, because I knew as a cop and a former cop of the Delhi police that it need not be caged. You have such excellent lawns on both sides, and you've got parallel roads, you can see on both the roads. Tibetans can strike on the left, Tibetans can strike on the right, but the children can be all on those lawns, and nobody could have come, and the world would have seen a torch on the Rajpath with children on both sides cheering it. So I would have been probably my first confrontation with the Home Minister if he had made the mistake of putting me as a police commissioner to say, hey, what the hell? But the problem is, I sometimes feel sorry for them that they also are scared. They get scared, and the people also scare them, because those of them who are around them are also scared. So it's a world of scared people. That's a problem. So it becomes a governance of cowards. It's a governance of cowards, with the result that those of them who have any guts are up against a whole ceiling, and the ceiling doesn't get broken. So that's it. So friends, where are we now? The point is, I tried to look at you when I was invited, and this morning also as I thought of you. I tried to go back to be in an age at which you are, and try to understand for myself that if I was sitting in the audience, what would I want to have listened if at the age of 22, 23, 24, if somebody coming in who's twice my age or more and who's got life's experience of 35 years of policing, 35 years of parenting, 35 years of being a daughter, 35 years of no, 35 means 35 years of work experience, but a whole life of experience. Why should I tell you my age, okay? So I'm talking myself 35 years old, okay? So 35 years of work experience, 35 years of a married life, 35 years as a mother, 1 million years as a daughter. But the point is, what is it that if I was sitting here amongst you, and what is it that I give you today to take home? Well, I do know Google gives you everything, but what I was thinking for myself, I may be right or may be wrong, is you after work, you before work, because Google is not with you after 5:30 and Google is not with you before 8:30. Thank God for that. But the point is, I'm sure some of you are in love with your organization to such an extent that you may want it before and after too. I do not know. But the point is that what is it before and what is it after? And what is it that I can give you from my experience that you could take along with you? Well, one thing which I think you could take, first of all, understand that you are in a very controlled environment here, in the sense that you're controlling it yourself. You are steering it yourself, but each one is contributing to responsibilities. You're all exercising responsibilities than rights. You are more on responsibility towards each other and to your organization than your right to the organization. That's a big difference I feel in your organization. But when you're outside before 8:30 and after, you will be in conflict with those who are demanding rights of you. And I do not know whether this work culture or thinking culture also translates into post-office behavior of yours. Now, what is it that you're learning here which is equally in need outside? And how are you training yourself? And this is a lot self-training, because it finally is in the mind. How do you do a thought process, a thought management for yourself? So therefore, I thought I'd share with you how is it that you become brilliant. For the reason why I'm narrating this is because I am dealing with these conflicts day in and day out. I'm looking at these conflicts through my radio program. I'm looking at these, getting these programs through my family counseling centers. I've looked at these conflicts as a police officer serving 35 years plus, and therefore, what is it that's coming? And I'm coming across corporates. I have a Thursday morning free hour. I use a full moon for free meeting. Three cases came to me yesterday as for help. One couple was a corporate, one was the investment banker, the other was an IT specialist. The woman was, and they were both young, they were hardly 28 years old. They were class fellows when they began, and that couple, the man came to me for a change, the girl didn't. The man came with his aunt and his uncle, and he had only one issue. They had married for 7 months only, and they were class fellows. They thought they would have a world of a life, but after 7 months they don't want each other anymore. They're at each other's throat, and they were fighting, bashing glasses inside, and both of them are in conflict, and they're looking for somehow a separation. The woman went to the police station. The families padded the complaint. This young investment banker had to rush for an anticipatory bail, and the guy is on anticipatory bail at the moment, and he now wanted to ask me, could he travel? Could he, because now the woman may just come in and ensure that he just cannot travel around the world. What is this happening? What is my experience, my friends, is that while you are in a very carefully controlled, in the sense, greatly nurtured environment which is safe, secure, well-mannered, well-behaved, well-provided, well-thought through. What happens after? Because you don't have Google partners outside. Either you choose Google partners. That'd be ideal. Believe me, it'll be ideal. Ideal. Don't you have a Google partnership program? But Google partnership program not for fun. Google partnership for life and not for fun. Fun is fun. Work is already fun for you. But Google partnership for life. Because you will not get Google partner outside this. You will get others who will have issues, who will come from different work cultures. How are you going to take care of that? Both boys and girls, men and women, because that life is not smooth. It's very challenging. The reason being, why? You have your own needs, you have your own alignments, you have your own commitments and responsibilities. The partner, your real test, my friend, is not your workplace anymore. Your work is well taken care of. Your real test is going to be your personal life, not your professional life. Professionally, you are getting very well equipped. So I have nothing to add to the professional life at all for you. Your real challenge is your personal relationships and your personal lives. How are you training yourself? Because those are people coming from different cultures, different backgrounds, different needs, different commitments, different responsibilities, different food habits, different emotional needs, etc., etc. I do not know whether as a corporate culture you are being helped to handle personal challenges. I do not know. But this basically falls in your personal domain. And that's your task after 5:30. That's your task. A, choosing without being in a rush, ensuring that you give space and time to make right selections. Even if you think you're making right selections, you work through the relationship and see that that relationship works. But if it is not breaking, it is terminable. Don't carry on the agony. But agony apart, what if you've already got a baby? You already got a child. How do you divide the child? Both are in wanting the child to be taken care of. These are keys, and these will impact your work. Remember, my friends, you are a whole organic human being. You are a wholesome body. And the mind cannot be divided. Mind cannot be at peace if the home is disturbed. Even though the work environment may bring you the enthusiasm back and get the best out of you and you give it the best, still you will come back disturbed, and that will impact your work, and that will hurt you professionally, and it will speak for itself. Maybe the organization helps you to come out. I would think focus after 5:30. Therefore, what's my takeaway? My message for you is, your takeaway is, work on personal skills. How do you build your relationships with your family, your brothers, your parents, your friends, and even people, or your spouses, or your fiancés? How do you create a relationship which also gives you a Google life outside Google? If you do that, you've done it. Now, if you don't add spirituality to this, if you do not add creative sports to this, if you do not add creative reading to this, if you do not add creative company to this, if you also do not add giving to this, you are that much less equipped. That brings me, therefore, so having said that work on your personal skills, you would be happier human beings. If I had not had the kind of personal skills to manage my personal life, I could have never delivered a 24-hour job for these long 3 decades. I would have never been even here. I would have been somewhere else. Somewhere else I don't even want to mention. But the point is that those personal skills actually help me through in a notorious department like the police, where you do not know who's your friend. When I used to work, I never knew when past age of colleagues better who's my friend. Imagine for working for decades, not sure who's your friend. The friend was my home. My mother was my friend. Father was my friend. Husband was my friend. Family was my friend. That's it. And that was my rock. But the point is, now I'm married. Does that friendship get accepted by my husband? Or is it a conflict? That's where your choices have to be very, very clear. And that's what's happening today in our personal lives of men and women. Like this boy who came to me yesterday, he said, "Ma'am, my mother is the one who single-handedly brought me up. But now my wife says, cut off from your family." How do I cut off? This is the first time I heard a boy speaking. I've always had women complaining, saying, my husband says cut off from your family. How do I cut off? I'm the only one, a bigger support. How do I do it? So friends, this is anyone's need. It's no more a monopoly need of a man or a woman. It's anybody's need whoever is closer to family relationship. So therefore, you've got to build on an attitude of relationship building and managing your personal lives. And there are no binges. If you say once in a while, you've got to binge, please, once in a while, it's just making a breakthrough. It can be repeated and it can become a habit. And same friends could say, well, you could have it then, you can do it now also. So if I was sitting here, what is it that I can tell you is, you make mistakes after 5:30 and before 8:30. Remember, those mistakes are like seeds. They are sown within you unless you uproot them. Be very careful on your personal lives, what kind of seeds you sow, what kind of actions you take. Each action has a reaction. No action goes just there. It may lie dormant, but it's going to bounce back. Therefore, I am only using one word called highest awareness of your thought processes, of your actions and deeds, 5:30, 8:30 till 8:30 in the morning, while this takes care of your rest of the day. And second thing which I had in mind was the power of giving. That's my two things I wanted to share, and then after that, if you wish, we can have a Q&A, certainly. Second thing is, you have more than you need. All of you, literally, that's up to you. If you say greed, then you don't have enough for your greed. But you all have more than you need, I believe. I don't think I'm wrong, but I could be wrong as well. But all of you have more than you need. And if you're looking for real happiness, then all research so far is showing the happiness lies in the power of giving. You give, you get happiness. You do not give and you only live for yourself and you only think for yourself, it's me and myself. It does not give you the research, the latest research which have been coming in the newspapers, and if you've read it, I have read it, is the power of giving. And they've done controlled studies. Harvard groups, another groups divided these people into two, and one gave, the other only consumed. They looked at the happiness quotient. Those who gave and consumed were happier than those who never gave but only consumed. So if you remember, your happiness quotient is linked with your proportion of giving. You don't, like Mother Teresa said, give till it hurts. You need not give till it hurts, but you can give because it's surplus for you. You can give. So don't get yourself hurt, doesn't matter. We can tell Mother, please compromise for us. But the point is that we can still give and we can give. And one of the method of giving, I saw the wonderful things where you have these boxes, you can put in shoes you don't need, you put in clothes you need, you can put medicines you need, etc., etc. But friends, that's not enough. That's not enough. You need to do a little more. And I do not know if you do more, which I'm not aware of, so pardon my ignorance, because I have not had enough time to even know more. But if you have more, excellent. If you don't have more, then you need to find areas of doing more. And I believe you have a Saturday, Sunday free with you. Okay? Give yourself a Sunday, but give a Saturday to community. Give a Saturday to sensitive issues, where your heart lies. If someone's heart is with healthcare issues, senior citizens, road safety, whatever, don't get involved with police. Okay. Education programs, then do it, identify it, or just helping people in the family, working with neighborhoods around. You can find where your heart calls you. Spend your Saturday bit on that. I think giving your time is most precious. It can be time, it can be money, but these boxes are fine. But you've got to go a little out of the box, outside home, and then think about it. However, I have a proposal. I have an idea, since you were mentioning. I have an idea for you. I have a project in Gurgaon here, in Bonsi. I educate poor village children here in Gurgaon in Bonsi, and I'm working with about 32 villages. I've dedicated my own personal land, a family land, to a foundation. I built a small home and rest of the land has been dedicated to the foundation, where we're running a rural development center, where we're doing training of Panchayati women training programs, we're empowering village women to empower, we're doing self-help groups, and we're doing school ke baad school project. Means these poor municipal schools which do not have teachers and infrastructure, they are brought back to our schools as school ke baad school. It's called homework school. Like the rich can afford a tutor, poor don't. and they don't have mother and father to support. And friends, do you know what happens? Many of them drop out. Most of all who drop out are girls. So we realized the girls were dropping out because they were failing and the teachers were not educating enough and they were getting no home help. So we started these schools called School ke Baad School, SKBS. And these children come, they all are different classes, they sit and do their homework. And we have 2-3 teachers supervising them, and if the child wants to ask, the teacher is there to clarify. But just the fact that there's a supervisor, they're doing their homework daily. Doing homework daily is keeping them ahead. And do you know what? All these children who've done School ke Baad School have started to be at the top of their classes, and there's no question of any dropout. Any child not coming in my school or School ke Baad School, the teacher goes and calls on, "Bacha, tu kyun nahi aaya? Why haven't you come? We missed you. We were waiting for you." So there's no question of any child getting dropped out. Then we look at the reports, and then we have our exposure trips. We put them in a bus, we show them around the city. Maybe we show them Google one day, but the point is we take them around the city, make them have fun. We also have a computer training center where they learn computer. Children are learning they're learning art and craft, and they're learning computer, and they're looking at little films. It's exposure. What the municipal school does not give, the School ke Baad School does. Now I have 32 villages. I have a proposal. A proposal is all the 32 villages need a School ke Baad School. Because why should they come to me all the way? I am in one section, but they are spread out. There are no little mini buses, there are no cars, there are no scooters driving them. How do they come? So my School ke Baad School is only with a radius of 3 to 4 kilometers. My need, or not my need, children's need is a School ke Baad School in the village. So what do they need? They just need one teacher. We need just one teacher in that chopal, one teacher. Maybe identify a retired teacher, or a School ke Baad School means even an employed teacher who may work 3 hours or 2 hours. It's hardly 2 hours school. So we employ 32 villages, 32 teachers, and each teacher could be paid, let's say, 2,000 to 3,000 a month. That's it. And then because there will be 32 teachers, we'll have a School ke Baad School program manager who goes around. So there will be some commuting cost. We'll pay a program manager of the School ke Baad School, whose job is, maybe we get him or her a little scooter, go around looking at these 32 schools. We do a little training input of these 32 teachers so that our children, can you beat it? By this 32 project now, what do? I was just thinking for you was this: each school could be named after the donor. You could support, any supporter could name that school after the grandmother, father, mother, anybody you want to give, and then visit that school once a week, once a fortnight, and then see how your children are doing. That means it's your school. A school of about 30 to 40 to 50 children, or even more, doesn't matter, that's your school. That means we could have the school, and we could have a little placard saying, school, whatever name you want to give, Janki Ram School or Mayavati School. No Mayavati. No Mayavati. Maybe Nani Ji ka school. Whatever name you want to give, but your name has to be given. So you can be 2 of you together, you can be 4 of you together, you can be a group of 8 together, doesn't matter. But pooling to adopt that village for School ke Baad School. Imagine if, and I as an NGO, my organization's headquartered there, will continue to work on day-to-day basis, train them, take a feedback, review them, which we were doing. This project was being supported earlier by a group called By the Polaris. Polaris has just withdrawn from this project, and we've lost these schools. In fact, now we've thrown it open to have anybody else walk in. But when we have a large group, which we can, why leave any village? We have these 32 villages working on School ke Baad School projects. I'll leave this thought with you. Go over it and look at it how you would like to assimilate it. But villages are open to you for your support, anybody walking in individually or collectively. But my condition is, don't leave the baby with me. You will visit the baby yourself. At least every alternate Saturday. That's why I'm saying Saturdays you could give to giving. You can't imagine the kind of joy you will return with when you see these children doing better and better. And when they call you Didi or Uncle, see, itne number aaye, itne acha ho, to you will start thinking of doing more, playing with them, taking them out for a trip. We were even thinking of scholarship, but that's a later part. This is what's kept me going. Believe me, my friends, that's what made me the rock star. Because when I started my service in 85, when I started my police service in 72, in the 80s, I found a very strong relationship with drug abuse and domestic violence, and that's how my NGOs were born. There was no cop in the country at that time who was a serving officer and also runner of an NGO. My major NGO started in 1986, and it reaches out between the two NGOs to 10,000 families a day. 10,000 children and families a day reaching out in benefit, be it in Bonsi, be it in Bhavana in Delhi, or in Jahangirpuri, or in Khulambikara, all these external slums, we're working on them, and once a week I'm with one project or the other. It will never ever leave gratitude. You will remain grateful all your life, and that is why I never need a renewal or a recharge and say, be positive, have good partnership programs, etc., etc. Be happy. Well, just be there, and you have happiness in abundance, coming free, given by your human effort because of your spirit of giving. So what do I give? I give time, I give goodwill, and rest of it falls in place. So my friends, this is what I thought for you, that if I was sitting, what is it that you associate now? You must associate with giving now, not later. Not when you're retired, not when you're post 50, no, now. The moment you do it now, do you know, it will bring further joy to your work. And that is what will be a new Google spirit which will get added to as an Indian component of giving. I believe, I hope that what I've said makes sense. I would love to hear exactly what I've told you sitting there, saying, hey young lady, get into giving now, get into sharing now, get into the spirit of gratitude, prayer now, because you have it all. And if you do that, my friends, even your personal life, as you grow and as you're on your own and into your family, it will have a great impact and it will give you greater happiness. In the end of the day, we all work, we all live for one thing, seeking happiness. And if you get that from all these sources, I think it's coming very easy. I wish you well, and I thank you for giving me the time and such great, patient listening. Bless you. Please.
There's a question from Hyderabad, so I think let Hyderabad go first.
Hi, Hyderabad.
Hi, I'm Padma from the Hyderabad office.
Oh, I didn't know you so
much. First,
much.
I'd like to thank you for spending your time with us. And I always believe that all great people had one thing in common, and that is a simplicity. I mean, I've seen Mother Teresa, I've seen Dr. Abdul Kalam, now I've seen you. I think I'm not wrong in that. So my question was regarding Indian police and the crime rate that's going on in India. I mean, we can't blame the police because it's like police is a small group and crime is like spread all over the country. So can we do something, I mean, instead of depending entirely on the police, can we do something about controlling the crime rate or cutting down on the crime rate as a citizen?
It's very easy, but I don't want to make your task more difficult. It's very easy. If reaching out to schools and universities was a part of a regular police program, it would have been ideal. But it isn't. It isn't a part of a good practice all over the country where police officers, beat police officers, community police officers reach out to schools and colleges on a regular basis. Since they don't, and I wish they would, and since they're not part of our audience, we leave it at that because that's substantial contribution to crime prevention. You as citizens could adopt this as a program and reach out to schools and colleges to say, how could you be contributing to self-security and neighborhood security? That would mean prevention of crime in the neighborhood and prevention of crime within your own homes. And to also say that if you observe something different and strange and you think it has an implication, do not hesitate calling up the police control room And do not wait and worry whether they will respond or not. Inform. You never know what works. So I'm just being realistic. Therefore, this is what you as enlightened citizens, as conscientious citizens could go to schools and colleges and speak without, because the moment you start saying police ki help karo, they'll say police doesn't listen. I don't want to get into that issue. I'll say, well, police apart, what can we do to enhance our own security? Secondly, teach self-defense to women. Let's reach self-defense trainers, sponsor trainers, and take them to girls' schools and colleges so that the girls and girls, not boys, girls can learn self-defense. Boys can defend themselves. Because if I train them in self-defense, then girls will get beaten even more. So, for a change, I don't want to do that. I want to have girls equal with boys so that the boys will say, well, we can both beat each other when we want. Because I know you are capable of defending yourself. The point is that if girls and boys in the classroom, schoolgirls fight, the girls could say, you dare do that, I'll give you one back. So therefore, take self-defense training. So I think these are little steps you can take.
Yeah, so ma'am, it's certainly I hope I'm audible. It's certainly an honor to have you here because on behalf of all the Guptas, I mean, it's once in a lifetime that we see women like you, I mean, who've been inspiring everybody since ages. And I have a long question because I've always been inquisitive by nature, so I've kind of a long question.
You can use abbreviations.
So basically, wanted to ask you, you've been involved in it as I've been listening to your speech, and you just mentioned that the government is extremely enslaving, extremely hierarchical. So, but you know, what we see recently, what we've seen is that there's been a wave of young people like us joining MNCs. So, I mean, I personally feel bad for the government. I mean, a lot of energy can be used there as well. We hardly see anybody going to the civil services or anybody going into government services. So, what do you have to say about that scenario? And also, since I mean, you've been involved in a big show like Lead India, which introduced an entirely new concept of bringing in young people as leaders. So, do you really think with so many, with so much maladministration and with hardly a decent number of people voting in elections, do you think young people like us can actually bring a change by contesting elections?
Well, you will bring the change just as you're bringing the change. You brought the change despite all we had, by your own entrepreneurial spirit, by your own courageous decision making, by your own careful risk taking, by your own IT and craving for better and better knowledge, and all the spirit of working together. You are already bringing the change. You're not a government institution, but you're driving the change because you are now skilled to drive the change. So therefore, when you are into the area of giving, participating, questioning, being organized, you are driving the change. But if you just laid back and if you work and you say, I have enough, 8:30 to 5:30, I have my pockets overflowing, I've got everything that I ask for, what more do I need? That exclusiveness will hurt you. If you do not become inclusive, my friends, it will hurt you. Because that's where the riots will take place and impact you. Like insecurity in society impacts women, doesn't it? It makes women insecure, doesn't it? Therefore, we have to have whatever we can do, must go on doing and not sit on the margins to say, I can't do anything because the government hasn't done. On the contrary, my question should be, what can I do despite whatever the government may do? I've offered you a proposal, which means you're creating better people. Do you know what? If Google adopts the entire area, if you work in that area, 10 standard plus, 12 standard plus, we may create these 12 standard plus learning computers would become ready for employment with those who need them. So you're creating employment generation, you're creating employment. That means that area becomes more prosperous, they got more income generation. So you are making a contribution in a small way. So it's small, but it goes really big. All these years which I've done, all those children whom we've trained and educated today, you know what, they would have been somewhere else in the criminal world. But they are now educators themselves and they are working and they're earning for their families. So we made the difference. Each one of us individually can make the difference. We believe that. Secondly, don't worry if you people are not joining the services. There are many others who are. There are many others who are dying to be there. The only thing is what kind of people who join And even if they are IITians or people from the IIMs, etc., they must stay better human beings. If they become better human beings, being the toppers in the examinations, they will create a better governance. The only thing is they forget, they stop learning and educating themselves, and that's where they get cocooned and higher. They are the ones, actually the new generation, just as you new generations driving the change, new generation of civil servants and police officers could drive the change. But the problem is that they get overawed by the hierarchy and start feeling singled out. That's the problem. But you have a lot of good people also joining in, but getting lost.
Hi, man.
We seem to be running short on time, so let that be the last question from Hyderabad.
Yeah, it was very inspiring listening to you. I have two questions. I believe it was partly answered in your previous answer. My first question is, you spoke about the hardship that you faced at every stage in your career. So, do you still believe that government would be, to be in the system, would be a good option to drive the change in society? And two, what is the kind of message that you give to the aspiring civil servants that approach you?
My short answer is, have the family on your side and join the services and drive the change. If you got family support on your side, don't feel insecure, and have a standby profession too, like a law degree or a management degree or an engineering degree. Have that degree in your pocket and drive the change. Have your family on your side, you are through. Keep your baggage rolled every day, be ready for any transfer. But anywhere you go, drive the change. What will they do with you? They have no choice but to suffer you.
Thank you so much once again on behalf of the entire Google family. I would like to thank you for coming here, spending your quality time with us and sharing your inspiring thoughts. Believe me, we're going to remember that smile of yours and that great sense of humor for a long, long time. And just as a token of memory, so that you remember visiting us as much as we...
No, I can't forget this.
But still, we just want to be sure. We want to give you a token. We want to give you a Google goodie bag.
Is that a laptop, etc., etc.?
We still to make laptops, more laptops. Thank you so much.
So thank you. I loved it. I'll wear it when I do school ke baad school. And wait for some of you to join me one day soon enough. I wait to hear from you. Okay? Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.